The journey through medical education can be fraught with setbacks and failures, whether during pre-med studies or in medical school itself. Approximately 10% of students within medical school find themselves needing to remediate courses, highlighting the high standards and rigorous demands of this path. However, remediation isn't just a setback, it can be a vital opportunity for growth and reflection. Today, we'll explore the remediation process at Hackensack Meridian School of Medicine and hope to illustrate how overcoming these challenges can lead to profound success and personal development.
Hello everybody, welcome to Real Talk Med School. I'm Karishna Saifi.
I'm Susanna LaPointe.
And today we are here to talk a little bit about the remediation process that occurs in medical school. But before we begin, can you tell me a little bit about your background and where you grew up?
Sure. So I grew up in Connecticut. I graduated from Tufts in 2020. I worked as a rape crisis medical advocate, and in my gap years I worked as a medical receptionist for an ENT.
Very nice. And what inspired you to go into medicine?
Sure. So I'd say the biggest thing for me was my younger sister. She's 17 months younger, and she's on the autism spectrum. And since we're so close in age, I really felt like I was part of the process of her healthcare growing up. I saw all of it, and seeing what worked and didn't work really drove me to go and do something similar to what her doctors did, and do even more than what they could have done to see. I want to do the same thing for other families.
Oh, that's so nice. And so far in your med school journey, what have been some amazing and not so great things that you've learned about being in med school?
I'd say the best part has probably been the community, not even just the student body, but also professors, administration. I really feel like, especially at Hackensack, that the professors and the administration, they really want us to be here. They want to see us succeed, and whenever I've needed anything at all, I really feel like I've been able to find that. On the other side, I do think sometimes it can be hard to access those resources. You really have to be willing to seek things out and ask and push for more, and that can be challenging, especially if it's one, not in your nature to be someone to seek out help, and two, and if you're actually in crisis, it can also be hard to find help or ask for help.
What do you think has been like the biggest resource here at Hackensack?
I'd say that I have two pretty major resources. One, I would say, is academic support, both academically and just personally. They've always been someone that I can go to. I've worked with Dr. D and Ms. Matthews, and both of them have been amazing. Not even just when I'm having a hard time, when I'm not having a hard time, it's good to just sort of go do those check-ins, work with my schedule. And then also, I would say that I really have enjoyed working with SAW, in particular Heather Mills and Stacy White. They have both been incredible and have been really strong advocates for me and for other students too.
Yeah, I'm really happy to hear that you're also utilizing those resources because you pay for them, right? Like it's embedded into your tuition, so you're entitled to them. So even if it's not like a crisis type of moment, it's so nice to see that you're doing the check-ins, just because you're a student here. And so can you tell us a little bit about your remediation experience and how that process works at Hackensack?
Sure. So I did not pass anatomy. I had some pretty serious issues in my personal life that really impeded my ability to succeed. When you fail, in my case, I failed a foundational course. They contact you with that you've not passed. You have a remediation plan where, in essence, you're self-studying with support from course directors and academic support. You meet with academic support weekly, and then with course directors as needed. When you fail a foundational course, you step out of our immunity course, and you get a list of classes that you have to attend in order to succeed. And then a year after you remediate, you come back and you take the immunity course with the next cohort before you start your clerkships. So I would say that the remediation process is more favored to someone who is good at self-studying. It can definitely be hard if you're not super self-motivated. Of course, most people that have gotten here are self-motivated, but there's a bit less structure than the typical course that you'd be taking, which I found to be challenging at times, but I really utilized academic support. We built that schedule, we made plans for just benchmark quizzes that through different programs that we have. And then I also worked with the course director, as well as in my case, I went to the anatomy lab. They made lab hours with the tutor on, even though we were not in the regular course.
Yeah. And so where are you now in that remediation process?
So my personal issues sort of continued on, and I didn't pass remediation. When you don't pass remediation in a foundational course, you have to restart the year. You can't move forward if you don't have a full understanding of the two foundational courses. I do want to, as a side note, just want to explain that the two foundational courses are molecular and cellular principles, as well as structural principles. That's just your basic biology, and then your anatomy course, and you need those just in order to succeed. So I was asked to step out, take a leave of absence, and come back, which is what I did. I restarted. I'm in the M1 cohort again, and so I'm actually just finished the first course last week, and now I just started anatomy this week.
Yeah, very nice. Yeah, I think it's really important to talk about some of these setbacks, right? Because I go on the pre-med forums and I see some people say like, oh, I got a C or I got a D in this like foundational class for pre-meds, right? Whether that be like orgo or physics or something like that. And I could never make it into medical school. And me personally, I got a lot of C's. I retook Gen Chem twice, both times getting a D, and then the third time over I got a B. And you know, a lot of, I looked for like support online, and a lot of people were like, well, don't even worry about it because you're Latina, so obviously you're gonna get into any school regardless, even if you have the most shittiest scores. And the thing is, like, that's really not true, because what's keeping me here is not me being Latina, right? It's me putting in the blood, sweat, tears, but I did have those setbacks that I feel like made me stronger in the end. And I feel like even with this remediation process, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like that setback is setting you up for a major comeback. Would you say so yourself?
Yeah, I would agree with that. I really needed the time off to sort of resolve the issues that I had, and also just to sort of work on my mental and physical health. And I am sort of grateful I had that time off. I also got a C in Gen Chem 1, and I came back and I made it here. It's not always a linear route, but that doesn't mean that you're not going to be successful.
Yeah.
And it's actually been nice to come back and sort of know what's going on. I think that puts me at an advantage over other first years.
100%. I totally agree. And can you tell us, what would you recommend students do during that year of remediation?
Sure. So for the actual remediation process, I think that it's really critical to ask for help. You can very easily go through that alone and sort of flounder, and then when you get to retake your test, you might not succeed. Some people will be totally fine, but I just think that not passing a med school class is an emotional blow as it is, and I really think it's important to reach out to ask for help, because there are a lot of people that are rooting for you.
Yeah.
And in my case, if you have to take time off, I think it's just really important to sort of work on yourself. I did a little bit of studying, but more importantly, I took care of myself and rested. That school is long and it's exhausting, and I was really tired, and I really needed that time. And then I think also just, it's okay to sort of I did a lot of soul searching. Is this still what I want to do? And ultimately, obviously, I came to that conclusion, but I think that was really helpful for me to be able to sort of have that reflection time.
Yeah, the support system is definitely like a big thing. Like if I didn't have my family and my close friends cheering me on, I probably would have listened to the haters and said, you know what, yeah, medicine probably isn't for me. So I'm glad that you came to that conclusion that, you know what, it is for you, and yeah, you're not gonna let anything stand in your way.
Yeah, I agree. And I know that we're both in the same boat for the first people in our family to be doctors.
Yeah.
And that can be really daunting when you don't have anyone. I didn't have anyone I could
Are
go
you
to.
a first generation student too?
I'm a first generation medical student. So my parents went to college.
Okay.
But
Nice.
it's hard when I can't go like, hey, mom and dad, what did you do? Because they didn't. And so I really had to look to other people for that. So I really celebrate that people who are sort of trailblazing and finding their way.
And how do you think this experience will make you a better provider in the future?
Yeah, I mean, I won't totally comment on what actually happened, but I think sort of navigating really complicated personal issues or academic issues and sort of having to fight my way back, I really have not, it's something that I won't take for granted. I never really taken this process for granted, but especially now, I think having that, really fighting for it, really affirmed for me that this is where I want to be, this is what I want to do. I also think it makes me, like I can sort of, I've always been someone who really is compassionate, but even further sort of solidifies that you don't really know where someone's coming from, you don't know what they're going through. And really just sort of being there and being present for your patients, and also just being open to hearing, to actually learning more about them, more than just that 15 minutes where you're taking their history and doing the exam, actually trying to learn something more and really like sort of building that trust, because I think that makes you such a better provider. And if you don't pass that course on the first try, you're going to pass it, but the actual skills of like that, your compassion, your empathy, those are really hard to teach. Those are hard to teach, and I think that those are so important to being a provider.
Yeah, that's so true. So true. Well, thank you so much for being so open and honest. And until next time, bye guys.
I hope that Susanna's journey through remediation not only highlights the resilience required in medical school, but also serves as a powerful reminder that failure can pave the way to success. By embracing challenges and learning from them, students can emerge stronger and more prepared for their future careers in medicine.